Медіа-центр Україна
Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform continues its operation. My name is Svetlana Cheparenko. Today is August 23rd, and I want to congratulate everybody with the Flag Day. Now we will be talking about the charity foundation Razom for Ukraine and the way they help to bring the victory closer. I'm introducing our guests today. They are Olya Yarychkivska, co-founder of Razom for Ukraine charity organization, Gatalyak, program coordinator at Razom Heroes in Ukraine, Serhii Mitrofansky, project coordinator of Cars for Victory in Ukraine, Matviy Suslov, program manager for tactical medicine, and Evelina Kurilets, executive director of Razom for Ukraine. So, Ms. Olya, can you please tell us what is your charity foundation and what is the amount of aid coming to Ukraine with the help of your aid foundation? Our fund was founded in 2014 to make the voice of Ukrainians heard better in the United States. In 2016, we've established organization in Ukraine to deal directly with the projects in Ukraine. And our goal today is to bring the victory closer. And in future, we plan to rebuild Ukraine. For the period of the full-scale invasion, we've raised around 100 million US dollars for Ukraine. What are the specific features of our foundation? We raise the finance abroad, mostly in the United States. We have more than 100 to 20,000 individual donors, and the donations range from $1 to $1 million. And we want to raise more foreign funds for different projects to make sure that Ukrainians can raise more money for weapons inside Ukraine, because we cannot raise any money for weapons abroad. Another goal of our foundation is the economic support of Ukraine. We procure the goods in Ukraine mostly, tech med, communications, everything that we can procure in Ukraine to support Ukrainian manufacturers, thus helping our defenders. We also try to support the Ukrainian economy at the same time. And thirdly, we hand over our aid directly to the defenders systemically on a big scale on a daily basis, and we have the whole system working. We have an advocacy team which advocates Ukraine in Washington DC, and now they're asking for F-16s for heavy weapons. It's a complementary team that brings the Ukrainian victory closer day by day too. We have a team called hospitals which help the medical facilities in Ukraine. The relief department works with the grants for civil organizations, and our main program, Razom Heroes, is the program to support our defenders that was established right on the 24th of February when the full-scale invasion has begun. We've delivered the aid in amount of $45 million to our defenders only within the framework of Razom Heroes. So what do we deliver to the front lines? It's something that is allowed by the US legislation, but there are some restrictions, like we cannot deliver lethal weapons and items alike. So we got engaged in an emergency mode. We were delivering drones, other goods, and now we're focused on tactical medicine, on communications, which are the ears of our defenders, on the vehicles and other things that you're about to hear about today. And this is why I would like to give the floor to our team. I want to thank all of our team working both in the United States and Ukraine, and now you will be hearing about more areas of our work. Thank you very much. I would like to discuss this Razom Heroes area of work, and also about the means of communication that you deliver to the front lines. Mr. Taras, can you please tell us about this area of your work, why the communications are not less important than drones, for example? Good afternoon, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Well, now there is a horrible war being waged by Russia against Ukraine, and every Ukrainian, no matter where they are, whether in Ukraine or the United States, we are all under threat, and this is why all the Ukrainians of the world have united to repel the enemy. When our warriors are in the trenches, we work in the rear to help our defenders. We've all been through Maidans, the Orange Revolution, Revolution of Dignity. Now it's the last Maidan, the last fight against Russia, where we will be victorious, and everybody who's chosen to be by the side of our defenders. I've left my business as well. I've left my printing shop. They're printing the books on a daily basis without me, so I got involved in this team. We work systemically, professionally, starting from procurement all the way until delivery, hand to hand, to our defenders. So we have two main areas of our work. It's the means of communication, tactical medicine. So what about the signal and communications? And just like drones are the eyes of our defenders, the communication, the walkie-talkies are their ears. So everything that we can hear, we can get with the use of the communication means. Our team professionally deals with the communications. We've delivered to the front lines more than 15,000 walkie-talkies, mostly Motorola's. In the beginning, the access was very complicated for the communications. There were hyphens and others. You can see these radios here. They are supplied with the extended model, with the extended antenna and special encryption means. And the other thing is transmitters. I would like to stop on the transmitters because it's a specific module which is very unique, and it's only available at Razom. So this transmitter includes duplex. It comes with the 50 meters of cable and an antenna. It's been complemented with uninterrupted power sources, and when our signal core comes to their positions, they deploy the transmitter within minutes, and dozens of our warriors start using their radios right away. They hear the orders of the commanders, they hear where the threat comes from, where a drone comes from, where a tank comes from, where the horde is coming from, and where the shelling can be expected from. Thus, every single radio saves the lives of the defenders who repel the enemy at the front lines. Our foundation also supplied dozens of generators from 1 to 10 kilowatts. Talking about the power sources, we supply inverter quiet generators which work in a quiet mode, which allows them not to be identified by the enemy. We've also supplied hundreds of uninterrupted power sources like EcoFlows and Bluety. Now we invest in Ukrainian economy and we procure Ukrainian goods such as Burevi, Bandera Power. So those uninterrupted power sources demonstrated very efficient work, and the defenders are very satisfied with those means of communication. On top of that, we've supplied a lot of other things like tablets, memory cards, telephones, satellite telephones, headlamps. Meanwhile, we are here, our drivers are near the forward edge of the battle area, handing over the goods to our defenders. You see right here, we've procured 10 projectors just recently. They can illuminate the area up to 3 kilometers, and our defenders may identify drones like Shaheds and others, using which Russia incessantly bombards Ukraine. I would like to mention that with the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we've performed more than 4,500 deliveries to the front lines. It's more than 740 military units. It's military units, hospitals, the police units, security service units, bodyguard units, and State Emergency Service of Ukraine. All the defenders know about our foundation, and just last week I've come back and unfortunately I found out that the volunteer movement reduces its funding due to the problems in the economy, and the defenders say that we are probably one of the very little number who work in the very bottom, starting from the platoon, company, battalion and brigade. So our operators who work and talk to our defenders on a daily basis, they analyze all the information and we pick what we can supply, what we can procure. But our director Evelina Kurilets will tell you more about the way it happens. I would like to ask you more about the tactical medicine. Mr. Ivan, maybe you can tell us a little bit about this. I would like to tell a little bit about myself. I'm from Ukrainian New York, Donetsk region. My name is Matviy, and I'm involved in civil activities since I was 14. Our settlement was near the front line since long ago, and it was my honor to be associated with the return of the original name of my settlement. When Russia invaded Ukraine, I was 17 at that age. I had an experience of study in the military polygon where I've trained to be a medic. Then I've got an American NMT certificate. Now I'm 18 and I had the area of tactical medicine in the Razom Foundation. Notwithstanding my desire to become an instructor in a military unit, I was invited to join the Razom family. I've seen the huge amount of technical medicines, and I've realized that using my experience I can increase the rate of survival of our defenders. I'm responsible for setup of the new backpacks and first aid kits. I communicate with combat medics, and I'm constantly in touch with the medical union. We try to improve this area of work and to correct our mistakes. Our team visits the tactical medicine training centers. We hand over the backpacks to the graduates of those training courses. One of the manufacturers of such backpacks is TDI, an American company. In the same way, our foundation has training on the emergency medical aid. We cooperate with such organizations as Pulse, who trains our military in provision of emergency medical aid, because our goal is not only to provide a first aid kit or a backpack, but also to train the people to use them. Tactical medicine area is currently one of the key areas in this war, because we've withdrawn from Soviet standards long ago. Our goal is to provide high-quality medical aid, prevent new injuries, and to ensure proper life of the injured person in future. For us, it's very important to provide tactical medicine because every father and mother of a Ukrainian son who took up the arms to defend Ukraine, that they will not bleed thanks to the tourniquet that we've provided, and a husband of a Ukrainian girl doesn't suffocate because a medic has an occlusive sticker, or a father of a Ukrainian girl doesn't die of hyperthermia because medics had thermal blankets. Unfortunately, I have friends who perished due to non-timely provision of medical aid, so I've learned by myself how important this area of work is. The protocols of the emergency medical aid provision are written in blood. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we've provided more than 96,000 first aid kits, more than 2,000 backpacks that are used during evacuation of the injured. Starting from the July, we've supplied about 450 camelbacks and about 190,000 tourniquets, which were added to the first aid kits. We've provided hemostatic means in amount of 31,000, about 40,000 Israeli bandages, 8,200 occlusive stickers, 670 compact bags, 8,500 decompression needles, 200 SEM tourniquets. And I would like to mention that you cannot treat those figures just like figures, because it can be compared to human lives. As to the switching to Ukrainian manufacturers, we use corrugated bandage hemostatic, which has been disseminated upon request. We can see it in the presentation, just like anti-burn bandage, which is added to our first aid kits. For a couple of months we're using Ukrainian bandages, and we've procured the first 1,000 of Ukrainian tourniquets called Siege. To continue working in this area, we are about to procure extend 30 SEM tourniquets, thermal blankets, and other items. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's talk about other area, pickup trucks in the front lines. Mr. Serhii, can you please tell us how you help our warriors not to stay without wheels in the front lines? Good afternoon, dear friends. I want to congratulate everybody with the flag, with the National Flag Day. I wish it's being raised in the most of our cities again, including Sevastopol, Donetsk, and Luhansk, and probably once in the Red Square, just to irritate our enemy. You know, the families of our defenders, they started addressing us with this request of the pickup trucks, because this is something that's urgently needed in the front lines. You know, in the front lines, the cars, they save lives. It's no exaggeration. It's evacuation of the injured, it's the supply of food, it's in reconnaissance UAVs, it's mobility, which means life. And unfortunately, we were observing that there is a financial problem that fell on the shoulders of the volunteers, of the families of our warriors, and obviously we could not look away from this problem, and we've come up with the project called Cars for Ukraine, under which we supply the wheels, which are so necessary for our defenders. So we use the principle of simplicity here. We've heard a lot from our warriors that sometimes it's very difficult to submit applications, to fill the paperwork properly. So again, we rely upon simplicity, and as of today, every warrior who has a mobile phone, they may fill the form so that our team can at least review their request and to evaluate how the vehicle would be used, how close it will be to the forward edge of the battle area, will it be involved in evacuation of our injured warriors, and then based on that evaluation we take the decision how quickly we will be able to provide support to that specific warrior. After the positive decision, the volunteers start looking for the vehicle all across Europe. We procure it, we bring it to Ukraine. Then there is a long process of restoration of a vehicle, because we understand the vehicle usually is not new, and then we hand over the truck to the warriors, to the military. We go just as close to the forward edge as we can and hand over the truck to the military. Then we try to check and maintain some statistics how the vehicles are used. For us, the priority is the evacuation of the 300s. So our trucks evacuated more than 1,300 of our warriors, thus saving their lives. More than 4,000 Ukrainian military are now covered with our support. So this is the number of the military who uses the vehicles that we supply. That's a small number, but we take all reasonable efforts to make sure that this number increases. The need of our armed forces, the most modest evaluation is about 30,000. So now we've increased the pace. We deliver one truck per 2 days. You know, we may take a little pride in the trust that we enjoy, our charity foundation enjoys, because as of today 51 trucks were presented to us just by different donors, just for free. Now there is an extensive team working for Cars for Victory. It's Asia, Australia, North America are all got involved in this project. They donate, they pay for the vehicles, and they gift us the vehicles to bring our victory closer. Dear friends, you know, the team takes a lot of effort, so that shoulder to shoulder we achieve victory over the enemy, and I'm convinced that the victory will be ours. Glory to Ukraine and glory to single one of you. Mr. Serhii, you've mentioned that every warrior can submit an application. Can you give us the specific instruction how to submit an application? How long does it take to review it? Well, as to the application, there is a link in our website. There is an instruction. It's quite clear, but again, every application is being very thoroughly reviewed, because simplicity, it contemplates understanding by those who fill those applications. We don't work with mediators, we work mostly with those who are in the rear. We understand that it takes a lot of finance, and we try to deliver this aid where it's needed now, not tomorrow, but when the guys are directly there and when they need this help right there right now. So those applications are the priorities that we try to cover the soonest possible. Thank you. Mr. Evelina, tomorrow will be 1 year and a half after the beginning of the full-scale invasion. What's your perception? Is the volume of donations decreasing by now, or what is the sentiment of everybody? Well, you know, all the adepts of optimism, they've realized that this war is not for 2 weeks. not until the next Easter or New Year, and we've all realized that it should switch from volunteer activities to professional activities. And talking about the donations, yes, the amount of donations is falling, and due to understandable reasons, is the economy, is the difficult condition of economy, so the donations are falling. We're raising funds from abroad, but you know, someone else's pain cannot be continue for years and years, and we still have to remind all the people abroad what's going on here. But as I've mentioned, our work should be professional. So if we talk about professionalism, we need to be able to forecast what's about to happen. We're realizing that the amount of donations was about to fall, so we've did a colossal work with the structure of organization. We've made changes inside organization to be in compliance with the requirements of international donors. We undergo audit here in Ukraine and abroad to demonstrate the transparency of our organization, to make sure that every dollar, every hryvnia obtained by the foundation, they are used for those who bring our victory closer. So yes, the amount of donations is falling, but let's approach such challenges soberly, I would say. And if I'm allowed, I would like to say that if we talk about the 24th of February and the way we were back then and we are now, we've all changed. We are the professional team of people who understand what we do. We do it in a professionally, using all their best knowledge. We've transformed, apart from the projects, this is just one of the programs of Razom Foundation. Heroes is just one of the areas of our work. We also have a shared resource, something that every project may use, our drivers, our storage facilities. And just imagine, our drivers have driven more than 1 million kilometers for the time being. It's like they've driven around the globe 24 times, or sorry, 25 times. And what's important to mention is that we are not the same foundation that it was on the 24th of February, and I urge every volunteer, every charity foundation to improve. And currently we have all the links covered, from raising of funds, procurement, international logistics, storage. We have CRM system in place, so where you can see in real time there is this application system working, logistics across Ukraine, documenting, analysis, where it was received, by whom is it used efficiently. So we cover all this cycle with accounting, which is very important. It's important to win, obviously, but we still have to remember that our efficiency, our expertise is something that brings the victory closer, and it makes this victory less expensive. And we have to remember about the rebuilding of Ukraine, where we're going to be after the war. Yeah, if we win the peace, you know, something that we've paid paid with the lives of our brothers and ours, it would be in vain. Thank you. Well, if you will look at the operation of the charity foundations, because you may be mirroring other charity and volunteer organizations, what is the most demand among our defenders? Is it the TechMed? Is it the vehicles or something else that your foundation works with? Well, talking about our foundation, I remember very clearly, it was back in March or April last year, or the year before, when we got the bicycle helmets with receipts Well, I understand that the people were trying to do something good for Ukrainian defenders, but they had no idea what they need, like not a combat helmet, but a bicycle helmet, cyclist helmet, which is basically of no use. Well, Matviy may tell you about the tourniquets. You know, there is a term among the volunteers about the bad tourniquet. I'm not going to use it in this studio. We were just supplying them as a training specimens, but it was horrible. The first aid kits that were coming, like a car first aid kit, not a combat, not a tactical first aid kit. So again, expertise is very important for us. It's very important to know what we're doing. This is why we focused on tactical medicine, on communications, and evacuation vehicles. So those are the three areas where we know every single component. We know we are ready to answer any questions concerning them. We know it's a high quality product and we are not ashamed about it. You know, we know that no warrior would bleed because of the bad tourniquet and turn into an amputee. You know that there is a very widespread practice in the hospitals when the limbs had to be amputated due to low quality tourniquets. I would like just to add to what Evelina has just said. Our operators add the demand into CRM systems, and when we analyze the procurement, we can see the demand at at each specific date. You know, there is a great need for the radios now that the counteroffensive is underway, and we take all the efforts we can, and we try to supply 10, 20, maybe 30 radios to the military units on a daily basis. Secondly, there is a huge need in high quality tourniquets. We supply ones like those certified American tourniquets, CAT, complete application tourniquets, and now we've picked the Ukrainian manufacturer Sich. We've analyzed it a lot, and the same story is with the uninterrupted power sources. The Starlinks need to continue working all the time, and this problem is now also very intense. Talking about other tourniquets before the war, before the beginning of the full-scale invasion, only a couple hundreds of medics were aware of this type of tourniquets, not tourniquets, and now more than 6,000 of them know it. They are very expensive, but we put a lot of emphasis on it. I'm not talking about the cars. Serhii may tell you more about this. The need for them is just immense. We cannot say that the state doesn't want to do it or cannot do it. We are all at war now, and we give a helping hand to the state. We help to procure all those things for our defenders when the economy changes, and we again we've invested in Ukrainian economy more than $1 million by procuring the uninterrupted power sources, tactical medicine. We also have the space food ratios. More than 20,000 meals ready to eat were supplied to the front lines. The laundry systems we've supplied 2 plus 1 is on the way. 2 more are in manufacture, and Olya may tell you more about this. One of the reputed people in the United States donated more than 10 of them, and it all amounts to more than $1,100,000. If I may, I will add a little bit, a small remark. First, you know, the mirroring of the demand of the warriors is definitely in the charity funds, but they are mostly it's mostly reflected on the social media when we see the sorrow of the families of the loved ones. This is something urgent. You remember in the beginning of the full-scale invasion, every page was on the social media was crying, help us with the helmets and body armor. Now we analyze what are the areas mostly covered by the charity foundations like ours or by Ministry of Defense, but some of the areas are still uncovered, and one of the serious areas to be covered is the vehicles, which sucks a lot of money. So that you understand the average lifetime of a vehicle in the front lines is 1 month. We understand what are the conditions where those vehicles are operated, and they were not made for war, but they are very necessary there. But even if we cover only one request, and now we have around 1,000 requests, about 1,000 requests for the vehicles, we've spent more than 40 million hryvnias, but it seems to have no bottom. And given this information that I've mentioned, that the average lifetime of a vehicle is 1 month, you know, we've supplied one car, and as we come back to Kiev, the guys already sent us a photo of the truck destroyed. So this is something I would like to draw everyone's attention to, including volunteers and the Ministry of Defense. As I've mentioned in the beginning of my speech, the vehicle is time, and time means life. This is something I wanted to add. I also want to tell about the mobile laundry systems with Anton Ptushkin. We were raising funds this summer. It was mostly aimed at the audience in the United States, and people were donating. We were getting emails from the people. People were saying it's very important. During the World War II, many people were dying of dysentery, and yesterday I was in Mykolaiv. We were handing over a truck to one of our defenders, and we asked him directly, is this system important? And he said yes, it raises morale to a significant extent. And on top of that, for the infantry in the trenches, they have different fungi and other diseases, which prevent people from efficiently fulfilling their duties. And again, this is the investment in Ukrainian economy, because those are the manufacturers who readjusted their manufacturing facilities. They export something abroad, but without any proceeds. They just for free make those laundry systems, which can be then offered to the world as a unique Ukrainian product. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Do you have any questions to our guests? Well, now that we don't seem to have any questions on the floor, I want to thank you for your work, and I hope the amount of donations is not going to fall, but will only grow thanks to your initiative. And Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform will continue its operation at 1 o'clock. Visiting us will be civil organization Opora, and we will discuss the attitude of Ukrainians to those citizens who remain in the temporarily occupied territories. Stay tuned.